Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Howie here with me today, and he is the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Oh, thanks, man.
So we're gonna learn a little bit about Howie, about his experience. Howie, what quarter are you in?
I'm in quarter 11 of 13, so we're almost there, baby.
Almost there, almost there. Yeah, he's almost done. Are you in outpatient clinic or are you in student clinic?
Outpatient clinic, so you start outpatient at Q10, so this would be my second quarter in outpatient. So.
Okay. How's your experience been so far with that?
It's a huge learning curve, man. And I think with all the stuff you did year 1 and year 2 of school, it definitely prepares you in terms of the stress that's coming. But now that being in Q11, I definitely felt like I got my bearings down. I was just bragging to my other friends that I'm able to knock down a new patient exam in 1 hour and 15.
Oh, nice, nice.
Usually we allocate 2 hours for that.
Yeah.
So I definitely felt pretty comfortable now. Taking on more complicated cases. So yeah, it's been great. It's exactly what you think it is.
Now that's more like you're familiar with everything, you're more efficient, and less more like you're speeding everything through, right?
Yeah, just they're looking at things that are more relevant to what's going on. You know, when
Yeah.
they come in their first day, they have a whole packet of their entire health history. So your first time in, you're trying to be thorough, literally, like going through everything. Now I'm just read through. There's red flags, things that kind of stick out. You may ask a few follow-ups, but just get to the nit and gritty of why they come in.
Okay.
That's the biggest thing, right? We don't need to talk about their the surgery they've had 10 years ago. That's relevant, sure, but why are they here in the first place? That's what's most important.
I see. Do you feel like in the outpatient clinic, the way you're practicing now, is that how you want to practice when you have your own thing going on?
Here and there, I think. Here, as you go through the curriculum, you kind of have an idea, right, of what kind of style you're gonna bring to the table in terms of your adjusting, what kind of rehab you're gonna focus on. You know, some people tend to focus more on soft tissue, some people like to focus more on function. And so for me, as a student, I try to just learn everything. And as I've gone through the clinic, sure, there's a few things that are structured that we do, but I think for the most part, I'm starting to figure out what I like and don't like. I'll give you an example is, you know, when you start out in, even in student clinic, you know, I think your ego is kind of in there because you want to do a good job, right? You don't want, you know, especially when you have students as patients, you don't want to do a terrible job and that student go off and tell everybody how crappy Howie was, right? So you're kind of like, all right, then I'm going to just make them feel great. So you spend a lot of time on soft tissue, obviously. I mean, again, you don't really know what you're doing. You're just kind of figuring it out, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, 6 months of soft tissue for someone who's never done soft tissue, that's not my background. I'm not a massage therapist.
Right.
These guys got jacked up. This thumb
You're like digging
it
into
just starts hurting like no other, you know? And that's what I was just thinking in terms of my appointments that, all right, is the soft tissue thing really something I really, really want to focus on? Because for me, I'm just doing it for the patient to feel better. For me, clinically wise, I'm like, I don't really see a point. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
So now my appointments, I actually tend to focus more on function.
Okay.
Especially if there's asymptomatic patients who come in more maintenance care. We'll do a shoulder flexion, see where they're at, and then overhead squat.
Right.
Now, most of the time, when you just stand and watch, they do their overhead shoulder flexion, their arm's not even at their ear. But they're like, I feel fine, it feels good.
Right.
There's no pain.
Yeah.
Right? And then to go through the whole adjustment flow and do a post check, for them to come out and be like, bam, way past their ear, and they're like, whoa. They squat down, no issues, whoa.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm able to justify, like, yeah, maintenance care is crucial.
Okay.
Hey, I did 0 soft tissue. We focus a little bit more on function, saves my hands, make them feel better. I'm like, hey, you don't always have to do, you know, make them physically feel like great. Just give them value and make it for them feel like they got something out of it.
Right, and that's like with the pre and post check, they can see the difference, right?
Exactly.
Like, oh, I wasn't able to do this before. Now, after what we did,
it's not so much always pain, you know, because someone's kind of mean with like shoulder pain, you know, you don't have to always base your care based on, hey, are you feeling better? Hey, are you walking better? Are you squatting better? Right? I mean, overhead squat, that's a movement everyone goes through every single day.
Yeah.
So are they able to move better even though there's no pain associated with that? Right? So that way they're able to go light bulb switch. Hey, Howie, what you did there, amazing. I'll see you back in 2 weeks.
Nice.
Boom. So I don't even need to tell them to come in. They see the value right away. So
that's good.
And that's the beautiful thing is start allowing patients to see that, yes, I do soft tissue, but that's not my main focus.
Yeah.
So they're not thinking Howie soft tissue, yeah, that feels amazing.
Right,
It's
right,
that
right.
Howie function, chiropractic adjustment, maybe some soft tissue, boom, I feel better.
Okay. All right, so we're at Q11 Howie right now. All right. You had a chance to talk to Q1 Howie. What would you say?
Dude, you're in for the ride, baby. Nothing more different, I would say. I mean, when I came into this school, my background was political science, so I was like, what the fuck is going on in these classes, you know?
Yeah.
I was just joking, actually, with my clinician about how I've never even heard of the word palpation before until I set foot here.
Yeah.
So when I first saw the word palpation, I was like, palpitation? Heart? Palpitation? Like, what does that have to do with anatomy, right? To figure out, like, oh, palpation, actually, like, you're feeling it. You know? Oh, that's what that means, you know? But, you know, if there's an advice for Q1 Howie is just, you know, you're going to go through the suck, right? But just biggest thing is remind yourself of your biggest reasons why. And it was really hard, especially when we first started out. We hit COVID right away, so you're kind of just in your little bubble, not really sure what's going on. You're online, you're learning adjustments on your little, you know, table that you have at home with the stuffed animal. You don't know what the hell's
that was a different experience.
Yeah,
for you,
just figure out why, you know, talk to your mentors, talk to your loved ones. Have your support system is the biggest thing. Those are the people that got me through this program.
Okay. Sweet. All right, so how about, we talked about the past. How about future, Howie? Where do you see yourself? What's your plan after next 5 years or so?
Next 5 years or so, you know, I love to stay in the Bay. That's where I grew up. I got a lot of my connections here. Like I said, I was a swimmer, and so I am very well involved in the swimming community here. So, you know, do I want to be like a straight up sports chiro? No. I like to be sort of like a family practice. You know, treat anyone that walks through my door, I love to treat them. But have like kind of a special, you know, niche with like the swimmers, with the jiu-jitsu guys. You know, that's sort of my fun hobby stuff. So obviously, if I can take care of people with their hobbies, I mean, that's a big win for me.
Nice.
But you know, 5 years from now, I would like to have a nice booming practice, man. If hopefully at that point, within that 3 to 5 year mark, you know, we can start having conversations about maybe second location or finding someone that is that can potentially, you know, sell my practice to, right? So I can go off and try other avenues in life, because as you see this past week in Chiro, I know you and I have this passion to help people, right? Get them to feel better and all that. Right. But being involved in Chiro has made me realize that I have a higher calling. And for me, that's healthcare lobbying, specifically chiropractic. Okay. So I really felt like in order for this progression to really go to that next step, it's coming from legislative, right? It's educating those in power that make these decisions that, hey, look, I'm a chiropractor. I get to tell you how we practice. You don't get to tell me how to practice. You have no idea.
You don't know.
Right? You're just hearing talks from other people. You have zero idea.
Right.
I practice, right? I know. So let me tell you how good this can be. Yeah. And I think that's where, you know, looking at kind of the Chiro Association where it is now, I think that's where a great opportunity for us young docs to really step in, because as you see, everyone is pretty old. But it's just that, you know, that's something I really want to get involved with, is really seeing what we can do on a state legislative, even nationalized, you know, what can we do? Some of the things we talk about now, Medicare doesn't reimburse for your first day appointments and non-paying care. So meaning that Medicare will only pay for that first initial 12-week care plan. You get them feeling better, maintenance care, bye-bye.
Yeah.
And that's terrible. And you and I know the benefits of having that wellness maintenance plan, right? That's the thing that really prevents you from getting worse, really gets you moving forward. And that's not accepted. Yeah. Right? And that may be some other people, you know, influencing those insurance decisions. But hey, if we got Chiro stepping in and telling them, hey, look, we can save you so much more money by doing this preventative care. Right? And that's where it needs to be about. So I really see myself putting a lot of work there. I met a lot of great people this past weekend that are, you know, involved in that. So that's what I'm looking at, man.
It's kind of about like getting in the right positions, right? Like getting in there and having the the voice being heard for chiropractic.
Exactly. And especially having a newer generation come up is really important because, as you know, the older people get, they're more stuck in their ways, right? But then you have these new docs that are stepping up. You know, we're seeing different things, right? So it's time for us to start voicing our concerns and see what we can do because, again, this is our livelihood, right? Because all those docs that we met over the weekend, they're talking about retiring, right? We're trying to start in, so we got to make sure that we are setting ourselves up for success, right? Or how can we get there? So
For sure.
that's my big thing.
Do you see this like taking action more at the state level in California, or is it a national thing that you want to kind of look more into as well?
I like to start state. I mean, I love to stay here. That's the biggest thing. But I think getting involved in the state, kind of seeing how things run, I think that'll take that'll kind of transition into the national place. But where I'm at right now in school, the things I'm involved with, I'm not that involved with ACA. I'm more involved with Chiro, and
Gotcha.
I could see myself getting there down the road. But you know, for me is take on the things that you're ready for, right? Rather than just jump in that bridge and go to ACA. So yeah, we'll see, man. But definitely really exciting. I know Chiro as an association as a whole is one of the top associations in the nation. A lot of people kind of look at what we do as an example. So if I can do some great work at Chiro, hopefully that takes off, you know?
Okay, for sure. You kind of alluded to it. What's Howie like outside of chiropractic? Hobbies, things that they like to do.
What you see is what you get, man. Just full on craziness. I like to swim. That's one of my big things. I really find it to be kind of a meditative thing for me to do.
You said you were on the swim team before?
Yeah, I was on a swim team. I swam here, a club team here at Santa Clara Swim Club, and got the awesome opportunity to swim in college too at UC San Diego. So, I mean, that's kind of how I got into chiropractic with all those injuries. And we've heard multiple stories of, you know, different specialists not helping, and chiropractic was the one that really pulled me out of my hole. But yeah, I mean, Howie outside of school is just the same old craziness, you know? Craziness elsewhere.
Yeah, he's authentic, man. He is what he is.
I think that's the truest thing is when you're your authentic self, you know, that's when you start attracting the right people, I think. And I think you saw this past weekend, you know, when you're true to yourself, all these other chiros start going to you and starting to do, hey, Artie, I got a practice selling in LA. I'm leaving. You're like, okay, you're just gonna give me a practice? We just met. Right? But it's that vibe, right? It's that authenticity of like, hey, dude, I really like what you're about. I really like your energy.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's just the thing, because, you know, it's so exhausting putting on a mask for people, right? And I'm sure you see people being two-faced, three-faced. You're like, I don't want to interact with you anyways. Like, I don't trust you. And for me I just think I've had moments of first impressions where people didn't like me, and that's okay, because they realize, dude, like, that's Howie, authentic self. If you don't fuck with me, you don't fuck with me. That's fine, right? But if you do down the road realize, dude, hey, like, Howie's not a bad guy, you know, that's how we start becoming friends a little bit, you know? So I do have moments where I'm like, first impressions kind of suck on my end, but what you see is what you get. I'm big on that. I want you to know when we meet that this is what you expect. Yeah. And some people like it, some people don't. Again, I don't really care, right?
Great. I guess last question here is, I've been asking this for the past couple of interviews, but when someone like walks up to you, or like you meet someone at a bar or whatever, and they're like, they find out you're chiropractic, you're a chiropractor. So what's your definition? Hey man, what is that? I've never had chiropractic before.
What's chiropractic? That's a good one, man. I look at it as, I'm a healthcare professional that specializes in helping you reach your fullest potential. And the reason why I say that is this. Many people come in, yes, they have pain, but as chiros especially, we have the unique skill set of using our hands, right? You know, you're able to now, because we're using hands, to now get into a deeper level with your patient. Meaning that, okay, when we talk about stresses, there's three ways of taking stress: physical, chemical, and spiritual, right? So they may come in with some kind of low back pain, but when you walk through them, all right, physically, what have you been doing recently? Emotionally, how's your life been, right? Are any stressors going on, right? Any death in the family, okay? Chemically, what have you been eating? right? You're able to kind of break down these 3 ways of attaining stress, and the patient will start reflecting, oh shoot, you know what?
Yeah.
I've been pretty active, so it's not that. Eating wise, I've been pretty good diet. Ooh, spiritual, yeah, I had a few members that passed away. COVID was such a traumatic experience for me. And we don't experience trauma until much later. So now as a clinician or a chiropractor, you can start seeing that, okay, yes, it's low back pain, but now there's like an emotional component to it. So now in your appointments, the way you're approaching that patient, you're now just more of a holding space type of appointment. Yeah, you're going to deliver your adjustments, but the way you talk to the particular patient is very different. Because my bottom line is, I want you to reach your full potential, right? If you are having this low back pain, and we help you with this low back pain, but we didn't address the emotional component or the spiritual component, we're just putting on Band-Aid. They're gonna keep having this issue, right? So my biggest thing is, I'm not so concerned about getting you out of pain, but really, who are you want to be, and I will get you there, right? Whether it's actually helping you physically get to your physical goals, or you're just stuck in a rut, having all these issues, and all those issues are now kind of cycling through. You're just digging a deeper hole, right? And my job really, and I say this literally, is I literally give you a push on your body for you to take that step forward in that path. But at the end of the day, it's on you as a patient, right? And it's on me as your chiro to help you find those pieces, right? To ask you the questions for you to reflect. And my thing is, I hate telling patients like, oh, you have adhesive capsulitis. No, your shoulder hurts, your shoulder's frozen. You know, like, how does that make you feel? Whereas now we are just now also unlocked all these other emotional components that go with that. Right? They know they have to exercise. They know they're out of shape. But why is it that they don't want to go work out? Right? So those are the pieces that as you start unlocking and you're just helping patients realize, so then when you give them that adjustment, boom, not only do they feel physically better, but now psychologically they're like, yo, you know what? We talked about a meeting to work out. I feel a lot better physically. Shoot, you know, you're right.
Do you feel like that's also like the energy you give to your patients? Like,
very much so.
I'm helping you physically, but you got to do something for yourself at this level.
Very much so. And I learned that from my mentor. And again, when I first saw him, I was in a rut, man. Emotionally, physically, like my back jiu-jitsu accident. Emotionally, you know, I had just no direction, you know. And so for him, it was just him always just asking me questions that helps me think about what's going on. Hey, how are you dealing with stress lately? Right? How was your sleeping? You know, he never once asked me about my back. He knows my back's messed up, but how are you doing all that? Hey, your back's hurting. Well, what are you gonna do today about it? And those type of things where I go, after the adjustment, I go, you know what? Like, you just turned my power on. I'm not gonna go home and just go back on the couch and have self-pity on myself. No, I'm gonna go out there and actually conquer the day. And I think that's very apparent in just the energy, like you said. I mean, everyone here is so special. You see that, like, it takes a certain type of personality to be a chiropractor. That's what I number one believe in. And two, just picking up on the emotions of your patients and meeting them where they're at. Instead of being like, hey, look, your shoulder is this messed up, you have to do all these things. Well, they don't want to. So you got to meet them where they're at. And I think that's what's so unique about our profession, chiropractic, is that, it is for me, how do I get you to become your fullest potential, right? And when you address all these angles in your appointment, you then are able to inspire your patients to want to go conquer their day. And that's really what it's all about. You know, for me, it's really not about getting them out of pain. It's really, hey, who do you want to be? You don't know who you want to be? All right, well, why is that? Are you stuck in a rut? Well, let me help you get out of that. But at the end of the day, I can only give you a little literal push on your back, but you got to take that step, right? But if they come back the next appointment and we're not there, you got to come in with a different approach. So, you know, our physical capabilities of the adjusting, our diagnostic skills, all very important. But I think that missing piece is that emotional factor that we don't really address a lot of times, especially at the school. I mean, that's fine. For me, there's no manual for that. It all comes from the training that you do within yourself.
That's probably one of the harder things to teach. If
it is, right? Like how vulnerable are you willing to go? And that's the level that your patients will go with you, right? If you don't train understanding your own depths of yourself, how are you going to do that for your patient, right? So there's a lot of that self-exploration you're going to have to do at this school, as you see. And I'm not saying you got to go train with the hippies and all that. That's fine, right? But just take it upon yourself to take that time to put in that work on yourself. Not just physically. Everyone here works out. That's fine. Working this, working that, that's the key, right? So that's something I've kind of realized during my time in clinic. I'm still trying to find that craft, but I just felt like I'm onto something. And it's just very hard to explain, so I hope I did a good job there.
But it seems like it's like there's a discussion between the patient and the doctor, where it's like a cycle of like self-healing, self-discovery between the both.
It is.
You're kind of like meeting them right there, right?
And that's what's cool about these appointments, that they come in and yes, they credit you. Do thank you so much, but I just go, it's not me, it's you. I just give me your hand. I pulled you up, right? But you know, when you pick someone up, they also gotta put in the effort, right? When someone's falling, you give them a hand. They grab it, but they are the ones physically pulling themselves up, right? So that's how I look at it. Is you give them the hand, it's up to them. Yes, are there some people when you grab their hand, they just like fall on limp out? Yeah, there's some of those, right? But I think that's just what's true about these appointments that I've seen in clinic. You know, not saying what I'm doing is the right way, but at least I'm seeing the results that I'm looking for in terms of my definition of a chiropractic, which is allowing you to reach your potential. And that's
and it aligns more with how you want to practice.
Exactly. You know, I'm not saying that that's what everyone should adopt, no. But that's the beautiful thing about chiropractic is once we finish, the world is yours, right? Under this scope of chiropractic in your license, you can be whoever you want to be, right? And so the way I want to practice is going to attract those type of patients, and those patients are the one that's going to do well under not only my physical care, but the emotional component I can provide for them as well, right? Like I mentioned before, there's people that don't like me first impression. They may not be my good patients. That's fine. Because there's going to be hundreds of other chiros that's going to be good fit for that specific patient, right? And I think that's just the key is right now, as in my appointments, there are some appointments where I just silence. Like I got nothing, you know. No matter how hard I try to poke, I try to get them to like me, nothing, right? And I just know, hey, look, if it feels better, that's fine. But I just know if with this patient, I can't get to that depth, right? These other patients, these powerlifters that I see, we're able to just boom, get deep, get down with what's going on, and it's great. You know, we're seeing some emotional manifestations of low back pain. It's just things you don't think about. Right, especially when you're a powerlifter lifting every single week, you think it's because you're powerlifting, right? You're not thinking about, oh yeah, this anxiety that I have about graduating undergrad. Oh, you know what? You're right, Howie. So yeah, man, that's just again lots of self-discovery on this piece of this journey. But it's well worth it, man. When you see the results, and not only just that, but yourself too, feeling like you just did some great humbling work. I think that's the biggest thing. And I know you're still young in your chiropractic journey, and I know right now life kind of sucks in your classes, but if I can just tell you that one thing is when you get to that 9th quarter student clinic, you'll start feeling that fire, and you just get more and more pumped every single day, like, all right, let's go. Like, I got a patient to see, let's go. You know what I mean? So
looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, lots of things to look forward to. Of course, keep practicing. Again, keep having some self-discovery. Like I said, the work that you do yourself is to the layer that your patients are going to meet you at, right? So if you don't do that work, you're not going to get as deep as you want to.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah,
man.
I appreciate it,
bro. That was a good chat, brother. Yeah, man.
You did mention you had a mentor too. Want to let them know where to find a mentor or where they can find you as well?
What do you mean? You want my social tags?
Let's see, where can they find Howie? Where can they follow him and see what he's up to?
You guys are always welcome to shoot me a message on my Instagram, HowieDZ. I'm a pretty available guy. I love to chat. If anything, I'm the guy who never shuts up.
Yeah.
So, if you ever want to reach out, I'm always available. And yeah, I like to make myself available. I like to. My biggest thing is leave the place better than when you found it, right? And a lot of times when I was in your position, I look at the upper quarters. It's a lot of like, don't talk to me, or you're unworthy type of vibe. When I was going out, I don't think it's apparent now, but when I was in your what, quarter 4 or 5? Yeah. So same thing. When I was in that first year, and I'm just trying to talk to the upper quarters about some stuff, it was kind of that vibe of like, you're unworthy of talking to me. I don't want to talk to you. So there's always like this intimidation factor with talking to upper quarters, or even asking upper quarters for some help.
Right.
And I don't want that. Like, I want everyone to be like, yo, Howie, like, can we work on this real quick? Can I talk to you about this? Like, I don't have all the answers. I don't. Yeah. But I'm here to talk. I'm here to help you figure things out. Yeah. And I feel like with my class and the third years that are here, I think we're kind of creating that type of vibe for you guys, and I think that's the right thing to do. So yeah, man, shoot me a message anytime. If you want my number, I'll give it to you. All right, but yeah, man, this has been a blast, dude. Thanks for doing this.
All right, thanks, guys.
Peace out.